Hello, you're watching Eye on Africa on France 24. I'm Clarisse Fortuné. Coming up on our program. A new chapter for West Africa. Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye takes the helm of ECOWAS after being unanimously elected chairman by regional leaders. At the bloc summit in Sierra Leone, Guinea took the opportunity to sharply criticize the organization. Relief in Nigeria as children and teachers abducted from a school in Oyo State finally return home. But the fear remains as school abductions have become a recurring crisis. Today, nearly 19 million Nigerian children are out of school with the threat of kidnapping, keeping many classrooms empty. And finally, to Morocco's vibrant getaway between Africa and Europe. Tangier is celebrating the art of visual storytelling with the International Photography Festival. With exhibitions spread across galleries, museums, and public spaces, photographers from around the world are transforming the historic port city into an open-air showcase of culture and creativity. Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye is the new chairman of the Economic Community of West African States. He was elected this Sunday unanimously by the leaders of the 15-member regional bloc. He succeeds Sierra Leonean President Julius Maada Bio. But the summit was not without tensions. Guinea delivered a sharp criticism of the bloc, condemning sanctions imposed in recent years against countries led by military authorities. Clémence Valère has the story.
A summit focused on reform and results. In Freetown, Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye took over the rotating role of ECOWAS chairman for 1 year. Before handing over the reins, Sierra Leonean President Julius Maada Bio called on the regional bloc to focus on delivering concrete results.
The next 50 years of ECOWAS will not be defined by declarations we adopt, but by the results that we deliver to our people in this community.
Another highlight of the 69th summit, the return of the Guinean delegation 4 years after the country's suspension following the 2021 coup. In his first address to ECOWAS leaders, Mamadi Doumbouya condemned the sanctions imposed on the region's military juntas.
The military forces are a part of us. They have consented to the sacrifice of their lives in order to preserve our common peace. Their uniforms should not therefore constitute grounds for their exclusion from the life and governance of our community.
A statement that sums up the challenges the new presidency will have to face as ECOWAS seeks to redefine its relations with the region's military regimes and strengthen its response to instability.
In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, President Félix Tshisekedi is opening the door to talks with the political opposition. It's a significant step in the politics in the unstable country where civil society groups have been calling for national dialogue for over a year. Emmett Livingston in Kinshasa has more.
Government leaders in the Democratic Republic of Congo want to start an inclusive national dialogue between political actors and civil society members. According to the presidency, this is meant to strengthen national cohesion at a time of crisis, with swathes of eastern Congo occupied by Rwanda-backed M23 rebels. The announcement of a push for talks was made recently in Kinshasa after a meeting between government figures and religious leaders. There have long been calls for such a dialogue in Congo, but this announcement came as a surprise. The government has had tensions with the powerful Catholic Church, as well as with Protestant churches, over how to resolve the conflict in eastern Congo.
We have come to realize that our country, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, needs unity among the sons and daughters of the Congo. Unity and solidarity, to be solid, to be strong. As you all know, our country is currently suffering from aggression. It's coming primarily from the east, from Rwanda. But how can we face such aggression if we are divided among ourselves?
So far, neither the terms nor the timeline of this dialogue have been set, nor is it clear who exactly will participate or what will be discussed. Members of the main political opposition parties have not yet communicated, but if they do participate, they'll almost certainly want to discuss tensions over potential plans to change the constitution. Congo's push for inclusive political talks comes just ahead of a planned opposition demonstration in Kinshasa on Wednesday. This demonstration is billed as a protest against President Félix Tshisekedi changing the constitution, with fears that he is seeking to remain in power beyond his constitutionally mandated 2 terms.
Emendi Vixen reporting there from Kinshasa. Now to Nigeria. The children and teachers who were abducted last May in Oyo State have been reunited with their families. Since the dramatic abduction of the Chibok girls in 2014, Nigeria has been hit by waves of mass kidnappings from schools. 27% of children in Nigeria, that's 19 million, are not in school. And that's one of the highest rates in the world. One of the causes, the threat of abduction. Chinwe Osundu reports.
The return of Grace Ojo to grandchildren have brought relief, but not peace of mind. Their family life was overturned when armed men stormed the children's school in May. They no longer feel safe in their village.
We are living in fear. I'm afraid every day. My children have already told me that the kids cannot continue to live here. They want their children to continue their education in the city instead.
Tajuddin Abioye is a traditional Yoruba leader in a Siela village. He says insecurity has forced entire families to abandon their homes. Although armed group operating in Oyo State Forest Reserve now pose serious threats across southwestern Nigeria, he still hopes communities can survive the pressures.
We call on all residents who are displaced by insecurity to return to their homes. Now that the children and teachers have been rescued, we hope life can gradually return to normal. But we still need sustained security operations to reassure residents that they are safe.
Analysts estimate that Nigeria has recorded at least 10 mass school abductions over the past 2 years, affecting more than 650 pupils and school staff. In June, a teacher was taken hostage and then executed in Old Oyo Park. The brutality sparked outrage among the National Union of Teachers, and many felt so unsafe that they withdrew their services for several weeks until authorities promised them better protection.
The government of Oyo State, where I lead the teachers as their chairman, has been able to convince us that security in the grassroots will be much more improved this time around, and there will be no cause for alarm for teachers as well as learners in the grassroots.
The release of the adopted children marks the end of one ordeal, but not the uncertainty that it has created across the Ohoro-Esiele district. Unidentified gunmen are often suspected as the cause of the violence. Despite assurance from authorities that they have pushed back the threats, in Yawota, abandoned homes and empty classrooms stand as a reminder of locals' ever-present fear of fresh attacks.
And staying in Nigeria, rescue crews are searching for survivors after a boat carrying about 40 passengers capsized in Jigawa State. At least 5 people have died, while around 12 remain missing. 23 passengers have been rescued alive so far. The cause of the accident remains under investigation. But the pattern has now become wearily familiar in Nigeria, where boat disasters are common on the country's waterways, where overcrowding, poor maintenance and safety violations often contribute to fatal accidents. And in other news, in brief, with Nigeria still dominating the news, West African leaders have signed an agreement backing the Nigeria-Morocco Atlantic gas pipeline project. The proposed close to 7,000-kilometer pipeline will carry natural gas annually across 13 West African countries to Morocco. Valued at $25 billion, the project aims to boost regional integration, expand energy access, and strengthen economic links between Africa and Europe. Next step, a deal between Morocco and gas-rich Mauritania. Sao Tome and Principe's President Carlos Villanova has won a second term in office, securing 56% of the vote in Sunday's presidential election. Electoral authorities declared the result valid with no irregularities reported, and Vilanova defeated challenger Nito Viegas Tabur in the first round, avoiding a runoff in a small island nation of about 200,000 people. Very tiny. French President Emmanuel Macron welcomed his Gabonese counterpart, Brice Oligui Nguema, at the start of a three-day state visit. Accompanied by business leaders and political officials, it is the Gabonese president's second official visit to France. He came to power in a coup in August 2023 that ended the Bongo's family's 55-year dynasty. Now to Tangier, Morocco's iconic port city, known for its cosmopolitan nature, perched between Europe and North Africa. It's now spotlighting artists from all over the world as it hosts the first edition of its international photography festival, Photo Tangier. Private galleries, museums, and public spaces around the city are hosting those images. Our reporters went to check it out.
Tangier's horizon now inspires photographers too. The Mediterranean port city has just launched the first edition of its photography festival on the theme of the call of the open sea.
There have been a number of artists since Delacroix who have come here to find refuge. So this festival has renewed Tangier's historic relationship with photography and celebrates its cultural heritage.
Galleries, museums and public spaces, the entire town is taking part. Locals and visitors get to discover pieces from Morocco and beyond.
We're by the sea, and I'm delighted to see my photos displayed for the public and for photography enthusiasts, people who care. For me, our streets are like a democratic museum.
Spain is this year's guest of honor, a tribute to the shared history of the two countries on either side of the Strait of Gibraltar that inspired Isabel Munoz for her series, The Sea That We Are.
20 years ago, I came here for work, and one image stayed with me ever since. There was this place where people came to sit in the afternoon and just stared out to Spain, across the ocean. So I remember that scene. And I wanted to bring the sea to Tangier in this piece.
Another name to remember is Louisa Ben. The festival awarded her its top prize for her series called Yeli, which focuses on dual identities.
I am French and Moroccan. I grew up in France, but my dad is from Morocco, and I used photography as an excuse to meet other young Moroccan women of my generation. I took photos of them in their bedrooms, and I did the same in France. It touches on North African youth, the representation of women, and our identities, which aren't defined by one country or another.
Photo Tangier lasts until the end of August. The festival hopes to continue for many years to come. After Spain, Japan will be the guest of honor next year.
And that festival runs until the end of August. Well, we've reached the end of our program. Thank you for watching Eye on Africa. Stay tuned for more news.
Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith.
All the latest in politics, economics and the arts in Africa on France 24. Our journalists are in every region, every country, to report on the emergence of a continent of unparalleled riches. Bringing you Africa's stories on France 24.
Thanks for joining us. Do so again. Take care.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.
Leaked Russian propaganda documents reveal a vast undercover operation in Africa, a covert Russian operation. paid African journalists to publish pro-Russian articles, including content hostile to Ukraine and anti-French opinion pieces.
Quand vous lisez ces articles-là, vous voyez nettement en fait qu'il y a, disons, une tentative de manipulation.
Our reporters investigated the situation in Senegal, one of the targets of the operation.
Voilà, tu le payes et c'est la loi du clic.
Project Africa, inside Russia's propaganda machine, on France 24.